All right. Now I asked you guys to arithmetize. Did you arrive at an answer? Anybody? Convinced? What'd you come up with? Think it's B? Second one? All right, let's check it out. I see somebody else with the second one, but they didn't want to say anything. Jeez. All right, anyhow, here you go. Here's the way to do this. What you have is two fractions that need to be combined, right? The way to do that would be to have a common denominator. Do we have a common denominator? No common denominator, right? So we need to make it so that they have a common denominator. The same way we would do this if it was like 1/3 plus 1/5. We would turn this into we would turn this into 5/15, excuse me. Then we'd turn this into 3/15, and then we would combine them and say it's 8/15, right? Okay. Now, how do we do that with just expressions like this? Well, first of all, we got to figure out what is the denominator composed of. Who knows how to factor this one? X and X, and then I need two numbers that multiply to -24 and add up to 5. What are they? Yeah, +8 and -3, right there. Now, we notice this fraction already has the x minus 3 in the denominator, right? So right now, this side looks like this. The other side just has x minus 3. So in order to make them have a common denominator, we need to multiply the fraction on the right by something. And we're going to multiply it by x plus 8. But we can't just multiply one part of the fraction. We have to multiply the top as well. If we do that, we end up with 3 over this stuff. We already have this over here. I'm going to leave it the same. Minus, and then I'm going to distribute this 7. The same denominator, right? Now what happens here? Well, this turns into one fraction after we combine them. We have x plus 8, and x minus 3 is our denominator, which is really the same thing as this, isn't it? Isn't that the exact same thing? So looking at our choices, it can't be A. It can't be B because the denominators don't match. So then the question is it C or D? Well, remember when you subtract a quantity, you don't just subtract the first thing, right? You subtract that and you subtract that. So this actually turns into 3 minus 7x minus 56. There we go. Now, if you arithmetize, maybe you got the same answer on B. I don't know. Maybe you got that B was right, but you stopped there. Remember, there can be multiple answers that are correct if you arithmetize. I don't want to go through that right now. All right, let's take a look at not the harder example. We're going to talk about that a different day. That's division. Let's try this one up here on the screen at this moment in time. All right, let's take a look at this one. All right, so if I'm going to do the same thing here, this isn't in your packet, it's just on the screen. If I'm going to do the same thing, I need to figure out what the factors are. So up top, I want to try to break it down to its bare factors, right? Let's see, I want to break it down, take out any common factors that I can. So First one I can take out a 3. Second one I can take out a letter K. So here's what the one on the left looks like, rewritten like that. And here's what the one on the right looks like. Now, they already have one thing in common, right? They already have K plus 4 in common. So we don't have to really account for that when we find our new common denominator. It's already there. However, this fraction here needs the letter K, this common factor. So we got to multiply the top and the bottom by K. The fraction on the right needs what? Right now, this fraction over here has this as the denominator, right? It needs the 3, right? So it needs 3 over here, times 3 times 3. So let's rewrite everything now. The top becomes 2k squared. The bottom looks like this. Put it all nice and neat together. We can write 3k together, just like that. Top right looks like this. I have to distribute that 3k plus 21. All right, so this is a lot, but if you can factor it out, find the common factors, and then apply the ones they don't have to each fraction, it's not too bad. Now, up top, it's just addition. So 2k squared plus 3k plus 21. And then what's the bottom? Let's distribute the bottom. That'd be 3k squared plus 12k. The top already matches letter A. The bottom matches it now. Right, there it is. Okay, you could arithmetize. You could plug in a number like 2 into everything and see if it matches. The hard part with arithmetizing on these is you get very funky fractions sometimes. And it's hard to add them or subtract them in your head. So if you don't have a calculator, it can be a challenge. Okay. All right. Now, I want to go to a con assignment that we're going to do today. And it's like this, but a little simpler. Let's start with a different one. Jeez. All right. Do this anyway. Here we go. They each have different denominators right now. This fraction on the left needs to be multiplied by this, right? The fraction on the right needs to be multiplied by that. All right, so when I rewrite this whole thing, it'll be 8 times x plus 8 over that on the bottom. That's the first part. That x plus 8 needs to go up there, right? That's what I'm doing in red. Now in blue, this needs to go up there. So now it's minus . Now remember, the whole point of this is to make sure the denominators are the same, which they are now. Whenever we change denominators, we have to multiply the top and bottom by the same thing. So now don't forget when it's subtraction. This is a common mistake. First of all, this is 2x plus 6, right? And then this is 8x plus 64. When it's subtraction, we subtract that and we subtract everything else in the group. So the top of this thing becomes 8x with negative 2x. And 64 minus 6, 58. The bottom stays the same. Now let's look at the instructions. I'm not sure how they want the bottom. So the denominator should be either expanded or factored. So I think this is okay. But another way to write the bottom would be to go ahead and use the distributive property or FOIL and work it out that way, which would be 11x plus 24. So either one of these is acceptable, according to Khan. All right, your assignment will be a bunch of these basic ones. And if you want, I can do another one tomorrow when you get to class. But it'll be due tomorrow at 3 p.m. Okay? So we're starting off with that stuff.